Okay. So we are, looks like we're live. Welcome to the Dr. Joe Dispenza dating meet and greet from our Facebook Live group. We should have, I think, we'll see who shows up. I was out at the yacht club and it was kind of windy. My hair is like a mess, but I should have probably looked in the mirror before I got on camera, but didn't have time. Literally went from a call to jumping on to do this. So I'm going to just go over some of the things that we've been discussing in the group. And as people join us, then we get to meet and greet and get to know each other. But one of the things that I had posted here in the group, and it's something that I think is so elementary and basic, and yet apparently for some people it's not that obvious. And I put, if both men and women want to date, why aren't we connecting? And so we had all sorts of comments. I'm going to read some of the comments that we had. Let's see, all the comments. So I had one individual who said it's been a challenge to meet someone who is willing to connect at a conscious level that is deeper than the 3D connection, a more conscious, aware connection where we walk our own path but come together to support and enjoy one another, enjoy life. It becomes a high pressure thing with expectations and demands instead of being connecting, trusting, sharing, etc. We all have our own work to do on ourselves to grow, but the fear factor and the trust factor, as well as people not wanting to do the distance thing, have been other challenges too. Sue. So yes, and there are many more women on here than men, it seems, as well. And that was posted by Adrian. We're just going to keep it to first names for now. We had another person who put on here, Shaka put great ideas. And then Trish put on here, I learned something from Native elder about the clan system that was once very present in their culture. Very curious. Some tribes are reviving this clan system. If you're an eagle clan, you do not partner with another eagle or owl clan. I don't know what the eagle owl, I'm not sure what native clan she's talking about. So I'm going to have to ask her. So one is a day hunter, one is a night hunter. There were exceptions to this, like some tribes were patriarchal and some matriarchal. I understand in these communities, in order to keep balance for the next 7 generations, this was very appropriate to follow one side of your lineage as your primary clan, especially when picking a partner. Crows and coyotes go well together, like it's a dance. I think it's similar to white culture's personality tests and things. It's unique for each person and each couple. It explains the diversity on this planet. Structure, awareness, and healthy foundations in male-female is important. Agreed. I feel a dance between the masculine and feminine coming into my life and partnership, and I'm willing to relocate. I'm in Michigan. I was willing to create a Zoom earlier for people to get to know each other, still willing. And then we had, so that was Trish. And then the next person, I don't really know anything about what she's talking about, but I'm very intrigued. It sounds very interesting. And as we're all aware, we understand that different cultures from different parts of the world either have societies that are more matrilineal as opposed to patrilineal. I don't know how much that plays a part in the dating world, but apparently in these native clans that she's talking about, it is something that is top of the mind awareness for them. So I would love to hear from her, from Trish, have her elaborate about that, because I've never heard of anything like that before. So then we have the next person is Benny, and Benny says, I love the idea, especially if we do it by region, state, country, or county. And then Rusty says, maybe not everyone feels the need to publish their personal activity. One of the things that I had posted was that I noticed that a lot of men don't have their profile pictures, even they're in this, they're on Facebook and they're on this Dr. Joe dating group. And it's like kind of productive. It's, if you don't have your picture, we don't really know who we're talking to. We don't know if it's, a fake profile or if it's legit or not. And you can't put, a face to what it is that you're talking to because you have an avatar of a cat or a motorcycle or whatever. So a lot of the gentlemen actually did say, if you want a picture, just ask us and we'll post it there. And some of them have good reasons for not putting their pictures on there, as did some of the women, which I think it's, you know, there are certain circumstances in certain professions where you actually, for your protection and the protection of either your clientele or your children, it's absolutely necessary. So the next person here is Vanessa. She says, I think forming friendships, no matter where you are, would be a beautiful connection. I agree. Talking about Dr. Joe's work, meditation, life, and love with no pressure, and even connecting to the same sex for a deep and meaningful friendship, no attachment, just a friendly connection. It's always wonderful to make friends around the world without a shadow of a doubt. I concur, Vanessa. And Vanessa also put, it's a beautiful connection when you connect to someone in another country and getting to know their lifestyle. It expands your mind. It does. I agree with that too. And then Andrew, he said, hey, everyone, I have organized a few Zoom meetings for this group. Lillian Walker, if you would like to organize one, please do, which as you can see tonight, I have. And then we have, it would be good to know in advance the time for Zoom. I had posted for tonight at 8 p.m. Let's see, there's some other interesting posts here that I think you guys might be interested in knowing. We'll continue talking about this. So I thought this one was really interesting. And this gal, actually it's not a gal, Kevin put on here, which had an interesting response, I think, from the people in our group. Kevin put, who's the boss in a relationship? It's funny because I never would have thought to ask that question, but he posed a very valid and intriguing question. Is it the man, woman, or both? Does it even matter? How should it be decided? Not everyone is assertive or wants to be in charge. Maybe power should be shared equally, but many times it's not. So there's 25 answers to this. So I thought this is a great topic to share with you guys here. So Joanne mentioned, I've never met anyone who likes to be bossed, male or female. If there's not an equal power, you set yourself up for disaster. Loving relationships are not about dominating, controlling, or bossing anyone, unless you are kinky and reserve that sort of play for the boudoir. Hey, different strokes for different folks, as long as two consenting adults agree to whatever, that's between them. The next person, Ro, says the woman. So I thought that was interesting. The next person, Saul, said, if both are truly embodying the divine masculine and feminine energies, there should be a balance of power, but in different aspects. And I agree. And then he had, I think, a really great image that he shared with us, which I'm going to share with you. And he has on the left column, he has integrated masculine, and on the right, integrated feminine. And on integrated masculine, which I will show you right now, let me see if the camera will focus. Not enough for me to read it, so I don't know that you guys are going to be able to read this either. Yeah, it doesn't seem like the camera is focusing that well on it. So let me just read to you. For integrated masculine, it says, healthy boundaries, honors their no, has a clear sense of purpose, remains grounded when challenges arise, present in the moment, so they're present, they're grounded, strong but gentle, has a safe presence that is calming to others, has depth of consciousness, connected with inner feminine essence. So in contrast, the integrated feminine is described as healthy emotional connection, explores and integrates shadow aspects, has clear intuition and trusts it, flowing with love, playfulness that inspires others, feels aligned with the universe, vibrant with life force, connected with inner masculine essence. So I think this is a very interesting post about the integrated masculine and the integrated feminine. If you're familiar with the work of Dr. John Gray, he is the author of New York Times bestseller for the last 25 years, sold millions of books. He's written, I believe, 28 or 29 books. His books have been published in 30 different languages. And he is an authority on female and male relationships. And he's also a sex expert. And he wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is one of his books. One of his more recent books is called Beyond Mars and Venus. And I love the main reason why I bought that book, because he talks about the research that has been brought forth through UCLA Medical School, Harvard, Stanford, and I can't remember what other medical school. And in there, they're talking about the biophysiology and the need for a man and a woman to come together in order for both to have hormonal balance. So you're able to obtain a hormonal balance within your body, which is necessary for you to feel whole and healthy, but without the need of outside supplements. So you don't need to take biosynthetic hormones or anything outside of your system, but you're able to do it behaviorally. So I'm sure some of you are probably wondering, it's like, well, what does that look like? Well, one of the phenomena is he talks about the phenomena that since the 60s, we have this proliferation of women who are more alpha women. We have the Industrial Revolution that created a 2-family income household where it necessitated women to go out into the workforce to supplement the income of the household because the men were at war, and you had to, there needed to be provision for the family. If the men were off to war and you still have children that needed to be provided for, then, you needed to keep that household afloat correctly. And so with that, you have, the feminist movement and female rights, which are all fine and dandy, but biophysically, we haven't been taught what to do in order to offset that increase in testosterone, because as you behave in a manner that is going out there, let's say if you are in any sales capacity as a female, then you're out there hunting for prospects, you're looking to bring in business, you're problem solving, you're getting it done, that is going to increase your testosterone level. So if you are in fact in that role during the course of 8 or 9, 10 hours a day, then there are things that you need to be consciously aware of, because you realize and you're recognizing that you are moving in a testosterone producing pro forma, and now you have to do things to bring your estrogen back into balance so that you feel good as a woman, because after all, your biology is female. So what do you have to do? So he talks about this, not just in his book, but if you watch any of his YouTube videos, his Facebook, he has a pretty good Facebook following where he talks about all these. He does Facebook Lives pretty much Monday through Friday, hour, 2, 3 hours long, pretty much every day. And it covers a different topic. But he tells you, if you're a female and you're in the work environment, you're having to provide for yourself, or if you're providing, a co-provider in a family system, or if you're single and or divorced and you are the sole provider, you're going to have a higher degree of testosterone. So you need to be conscientious that in order for you to feel feminine, for you to be healthy in your body, for you to be producing the proper level of estrogen in your body and oxytocin and progesterone, and to bring your testosterone levels so that you are in a healthy body, you're going to have to do things to promote estrogen production. And so what are some of those things that you can do as a woman? Well, very simple. After you leave work, you can stop by and you can get a manicure. You can get a massage. You can get a pedicure. You can stop by after work and meet up with several girlfriends, and just the camaraderie of you being able to talk about your day, expressing whatever your concerns, whatever your challenges are, kind of offloading and having somebody listen, not necessarily fix whatever problems that you have, but just empathizing, being that empathetic ear and listening to you. Again, if you're single or you're divorced and you don't have that significant other that can provide that role, by being around a group of women and doing that, or coming together where you all play, you can play bunco, or maybe you're just getting together for drinks and a chit chat, or to grab a bite, whether it's appetizers or grabbing dinner. And it's the camaraderie of just chit chatting, talking about whatever's fun for you at the time. Or maybe you're getting together and you're painting art together, or you're playing ping pong together, or you're doing any group where there's 2 or more women that are together. Even if it's one other woman, that's going to bring your progesterone and your estrogen levels up and your oxytocin. And so that's going to make you feel more in balance, so that now you go home, and as you move, through the rest of your day, you're bringing the testosterone down and you're bringing the estrogen and the oxytocin levels up in order to be balanced. Now, if you have a significant other, of course, the ultimate way for a man and a woman to bring their hormonal levels together is to make love. And so that is like the perfect balancer for both, because it decreases the testosterone in the woman and increases her estrogen by virtue of being with that male, by virtue of her receiving his love, his affection, his attention. Her estrogen is going to come into balance along with her oxytocin, and it's going to drop his testosterone. His oxytocin levels are also going to come up. His estrogen levels are going to come up as he provides affection, because that is a feminine thing to do. But his testosterone has to be 20 to 50 times higher than her testosterone in order for there to be attraction. If his testosterone isn't 20 to 50 times higher than hers, then there's not going to be any kind of attraction, and then they're just it's a friendly relationship, but it's not going to be, there's not enough polarity to drive that passion and that attraction. And he also talks about how men, after the act of lovemaking, then the man actually has to literally pull away. There's a time, of course, for them to cuddle and to be affectionate with each other, but shortly thereafter, he actually needs to leave that space where the woman is. And in order to replenish his testosterone, because he's offloaded a lot of testosterone in this activity with 30 plus different organs of the body that are releasing hormones. So he needs to go replenish that testosterone, because he's not going to feel good if he remains there all day long. So he needs to leave. He needs to go for a run. He might need to go out with his buddies, whatever, play racquetball, baseball, basketball, golf, whatever. He may need to go into his man cave, work on whatever, his tools, his car, his motorcycle. Maybe he needs to go for a bike ride, motorcycle ride, go skateboarding, whatever. Every man knows exactly what it is that they need to do. And they know that it's not to be done with their woman, no matter how much they love her. And so it is a biophysical need that a man has. And women who are attuned to their bodies, attuned to their partner, are going to recognize that that is a healthy, balanced male. It's nothing personal. It's not, it's not because they don't love you. It's because they biophysically, they need that to get themselves into balance. And so I think the more men and women educate themselves as to these biophysical things that you can do to behaviorally bring yourself into balance, the more empowered you are. Now, another thing that Dr. John Gray talks about that I think is really fascinating, and I think that not enough people know about it. A lot of people don't know that he was actually a Buddhist monk for 9 years. He was celibate for 9 years. He was the assistant to Yogananda in India for 9 years. Then when he came back, he did that basically throughout his 20s. So he came back, and after being celibate for 9 years, he said, he goes, I needed to catch up for 9 years of having been celibate. And so he sought out women to teach him how to become, a wonderful lover. And he learned and studied everything that he needed to study, and learned, what makes women tick, the do's, the don'ts, and so forth. And one of the things that he said that he learned during that period of several years, he ended up getting married to Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, and that marriage lasted for a couple years. He's very public and very open about, that relationship and everything that happened there, and how they ended up divorcing after a couple years. And then he ended up marrying his soulmate, Bonnie, his late soulmate, Bonnie, who just passed away a couple years ago, tragically, of cancer. But he talks about, how there is this dance between men and women. Both men and women have to take responsibility in the relationship to make sure that that continued dynamic over the long term. And he talks about something that I've never heard anybody else talk about before, which I am very curious. Right now I'm single and I don't have a significant other. I have a husband and I have an ex-boyfriend. And so I don't have anyone that, to explore this with, but I can assure you with my next serious relationship who, maybe that'll be my forever person. If not, maybe the person thereafter. But he talks about something called polarity sex. And I thought, whoa, what's that all about? And so there are certain things, again, this is biophysics. This is biophysiology. So a man and a woman can come together, 3 times a week, and there is a certain behavior that you can do 2 out of the 3 times, so that the 3rd time, if you follow this pattern, a man's testosterone, I hope you're sitting down when you hear this, because believe it or not, a man's testosterone can actually double by doing the polarity sex drills or method that he teaches. So you can learn about it more in his book, Beyond Mars and Venus. I'll put a link to the book in the description below. I have it on my Kindle. It's a fascinating read. It's one of those books that you don't want to just read it as quickly as you can, cover to cover. You really want to savor this book, because the whole idea is not just to gorge on the information. You want to learn it, you want to absorb it, and you want to apply it. Albeit if you're single, there's limits to what you can apply, but there's still a good amount of stuff that you can apply. But you can do it now mindfully. You can do it with intention. You can do it with a certain level of consciousness and awareness, knowing that you realize and recognize that with every action that you take, that you are going to set yourself up for success, because now you are taking ownership and responsibility over your life, your biophysiology, your biochemistry, and you can actually help optimize your body so that you are in the best state of health and well-being, so that when you do come into contact with people of the opposite sex and you're looking to attract that right person, that the odds are now more in your favor. And the odds are that you're going to find someone who's of like mind, because birds of a feather flock together. So you're going to have somebody who's, conscious about what they eat, what they do with their body, their health and well-being. They're conscious. They're doing some of these mindful practices and so forth. So we don't have anybody, let's see, I don't know. We've been on here for about 26 minutes and we've been talking about all these different things. Don't see anybody who has joined us, even though they said they were interested in this from the group, but I'm going to keep on going on. And let me share another comment we have Christina here, who said, you mean who is the dominant one? Well, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with somebody who believed that one of us has to be the boss. And there are some relationships that's the agreement. It's understood. Different strokes for different folks. We have 7 billion people on the planet. Part of what makes us so fascinating and interesting is that we have such a large spectrum of diversity. That diversity, Dr. John Gray talks about that. It's the diversity, the difference that makes us interesting. It's part of what brings us together. The things that we share in common is also part of what brings us together. But what makes us interesting is the mystery of what our differences are. And in peeling the layers of an onion and kind of getting to know somebody better and just being really genuinely curious about who they are, what makes them tick, what intrigues them, what motivates them, what turns them off, what is just something that they're passionate about, how they grew up, where they grew up, what were some of the customs that they had, what were some of the traditions. Compare and contrast them with what it was that you did, where you did it, with whom you did those things. What were some of your traditions or lack of traditions for that matter? Did you live in the same home throughout your childhood, or did you move every year or every 2, 3, 4, 5 years? There are some people who have been in the same home for 20, 30, 40 years. Their parents have been there since before they were born, and they're still in that same home. And there are others who they it's the opposite. They're on the constant move and go, and they buy a house, sell it, fix it up, sell it, move, etc. They sometimes move to different states, even different countries. So that is going to shape and mold you in a much different way than someone who doesn't move in any way. Ahmed says here, there is no boss in relationship. When two people get together, they become one. I love this. Relationship is not business. True. Must be based on unconditional love. Otherwise, it would not work. So true. And John Gray talks about this. There's a type of relationship which is a transactional love relationship, which is kind of more like a controlled business arrangement where, I'll give you love if you do this, or only when you do this will I do that. And that's kind of a tit for tat transactional based relationship, as opposed to one that's not really measuring, it's not keeping track. Just the thought of having to keep track of that sounds exhausting to me, but there are people who do behave in that manner, and that's their paradigm. And I suppose if two people come together and they both have that ideology, I guess just make sure that you both measure up and you're both squaring away your tally sheets. That's how you choose to conduct your lives, I suppose. I don't know that there's anything such as 50-50. I think sometimes it's 90-10 where you have to do, you're not measuring, you're just doing whatever it takes. And there are other times that you can relax back. Maybe you can't for whatever reason. And now, maybe you balance back to 50-50, 60-40 or whatever. And then maybe other times where then, it slants the other way where you're only doing maybe 5 or 10% and your partner has to, without, it's like instinctive, boom, the gap is always filled. So, yeah, I think the transactional relationships, I don't think they work very well, but there's, again, different strokes for different folks. I'm sure there's probably a time and space and place I'm sure it works for some people. Maybe it works for, a certain amount of time and then it breaks apart. I don't really know the answer to that question. So we have another person here. Cassia says, boss, ? In the real relationship, it is not existent. Something like a boss. It is partnership. Somebody can take leadership in some situations, but boss, ? Then we have Leanne who says, in a healthy and fulfilling relationship, there needs to be a feeling of balance. Yes, I agree, Leanne. If there is a boss, it gives the notion of a one up and one down in the relationship, which leads to discontent. I agree. Nicole says, nobody should be the boss of anybody. Laugh out loud. That kind of thinking is toxic in and of itself. There should be a balance in relationship. It's not about the masculine or the feminine. It's about combining both of them and utilizing both of them to achieve unity within the relationship. The man should have just as many feminine qualities as the woman have masculine. I don't know that I agree with that because men are men and women are women. And they both thrive off of each other and help each other. It's not about who is the boss. That is so outdated thinking. Very good. Alexandra says, there's no boss in a truly loving relationship. Partners have their rightful place and energy. Love is such a delicate feeling. Where there's power play, there's no love. That's true. Power plays aren't healthy. If you really love somebody, I don't think you're even thinking about having power or, wanting to dominate or manipulate them. I think that is kind of an unhealthy place to be in. I think when you love, you just want to give love. You want to give affection to the other person. You want to do whatever's, best for them. You want to dote on them. And I think that they want to reciprocate back at you too, because it's just a love. You're coming from a loving place. So think about, the first loving relationship that we have in our lives is that with our mother. So our mother, there isn't anything that our mother doesn't want to give us. They want to feed us. They want to shelter us. They want to protect us. They want to provide for us. And they're not doing it with limitations. It's like whatever amount of food you need to eat, they'll change however many diapers, doesn't matter how many you soil. It's a selfless form of love. And the baby is willing to accept that. And the baby is also willing to love on the mother and hug the mother. Maybe the mother is actually giving more to the baby at the beginning, but the baby in due time does give a lot of joy, gives a lot of love, a lot of kisses and hugs and affection to the mother as well. So something to think about, I think. Lauren says here, no boss. I believe healthy relationships are built with equal energy. There is a balance in giving and receiving, even with power. Sometimes one person takes the lead, sometimes the other person does. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's a balance. It's like a dance. Virginia says, I think there is no I and you. Is us if you say we, there is no boss. Sven says, I think polarity is important. I agree, Sven. One is the boss, or rather leader here, the other one there. If it's always yes, we agree, then it's bound to fail and no need for a partnership in the first place. Nobody needs a copy of themselves. Yeah, it would be boring to be with somebody who is identical to you. Again, part of what intrigues us about another human being is to learn what the differences are in how they think, what they believe. I believe you do have to have shared values. You also have to have shared self-respect and respect for others, a certain respect for your own dignity and another person's dignity, and not forcing anyone to do anything in any way. So I think it's out of respect to the other individual. I think it's a loving thing to do. Sergio says, in a good relationship, nobody's the boss. Lisa says, exactly. In a healthy relationship, there's a higher power guiding both parties. I love this. Realistically, power dynamics can happen, but ideally, both parties are in flow and on a team. Yeah, I think part of that dynamic of sharing that beautiful love dance is having an open communication between the two parties, and you have to set the stage for not just unconditional love and unconditional communication, but doing it in an unconditional manner and really coming together where you're both committed to self-growth, personal growth, and growth with each other, and making it a safe place. It's like, okay, instead of jumping at the conclusion, it's like, why are they doing this or doing this to harm me? Say, giving them the benefit of the doubt, say, hey, wait a minute, you said this, you did this, and it kind of came across this way, and I don't think you meant it this way, but what's going on here? And just kind of come from a more gracious, loving place. And I think both the woman to the man, equally to the man to the woman, should be doing this. And women shouldn't be quick to assume the worst. Some women are so quick to judge and to criticize and to blame and to condemn a man, which I don't think that's healthy, and it's not loving, that's for sure. And I think it's a fear response. And if you feel a fear response, I think it's a very vulnerable thing to do, but I think it's a loving thing to come to your partner and say, hey, I felt so afraid, or I felt so, I felt so bad. Maybe you don't even have a word for the actual emotion, but you just know that you don't feel good. Just say, you know what, when you did this, it's no big deal. I don't want to make it, this is not your fault. I just want to let you know that when you did this, or you didn't do this, or you said this, this is how I immediately felt. And I just need you to know that I just felt this, and it reminded me of such and such thing, or it just didn't feel good in my body. And I just have to let you know, you don't even have to do or change anything. I just need to let you know that this is how it made me feel. And just you listening to me air this so that you're aware of it is increasing my estrogen, which is true. Biophysiologically speaking, by a man just listening to her air that issue without even doing anything, the act of listening actually penetrates her energetic field, and it immediately increases her estrogen and her oxytocin and some of her progesterone. And he is now masculine enough, he is strong enough in his masculine frame, and he has enough courage to stand in his solid groundedness, where there isn't anything that she can't express to him. Nothing is going to topple him off. He's not going to, you know, they actually have shown scientifically that men who blow their tops actually have very low testosterone. We think that that's a very male attribute to blow your top off. No, that's actually a sign of low testosterone. The more a man can keep his cool, is grounded, solid, not freaking out, getting hysterical. Of course, society doesn't call a man who blows his top as hysterical. Women are hysterical if they blow their tops, but men, it's basically the same behavioral pattern. They're getting hysterical because their testosterone is low. Interestingly enough, men who have low levels of testosterone are also found to have a high degree of heart attacks. And in every single case that men have had heart attacks, they have low testosterone. The research is dumbfounding to me. I was so flabbergasted and so taken aback that I'm wondering, why aren't they talking more about these things? Why aren't they educating men? A lot of men who blow their tops off too. Another thing that goes hand in hand with the low testosterone, which a lot of people don't know, is there's a lot of human beings, we're going to say, but there's a lot of guys who are having a lot of issues with impulse control. On top of the low T, they have, unbeknownst to them, they have multiple TBIs that they've suffered over their lifetime. Maybe they played soccer, maybe they played football when they were in junior high, high school, college, or professionally. 100% of football players, we discovered this when I did the film with 3-time Emmy Award-winning producer-director Jerry Sher. We just featured the film Quiet Explosions, and we uncovered this. We had Mark Reeson, NFL football player. We also had Anthony Davis, A.D. Davis. He was not only a USC star football player, but he was both a professional football player and baseball player at the same time. And on the cover of Sports Illustrated, et cetera. And one of the things that we revealed while making that film documentary on traumatic brain injuries is that all football players suffer multiple concussive traumatic brain injuries during the course of their careers. This is not just limited to professional football. It is football in general, soccer in general. A lot of gymnasts. I mean, you'll have to watch the film, which is available. Just go to quietexplosions.com. You can get more information about that. But Dr. Daniel Amen has thousands of brain scans. He is one of the leading authorities on traumatic brain injuries in the country, in the world. And he discusses how, yes, you can have traumatic brain injury, and there is a protocol that you can put in place. He has a supplement protocol coupled with hyperbaric chamber treatments. You can find out all about it by watching the film documentary, quietexplosions.com. So it could be that if you're finding that you're a guy and maybe your testosterone level is a little on the low side, but maybe that's not all there is to it. Maybe it's that coupled with multiple undiagnosed traumatic brain injuries, which can be corrected. And hyperbaric chamber treatments are more within your reach than you would ever imagine. There's so much research on that. We go into the details of that. I did do a show where we interviewed Jerry Sher, the 3-time Emmy Award-winning producer-director of the film, that documentary. And there's some surprises that are revealed in that film that she was even surprised and shocked as we were all putting all of this information together. It's really quite revealing. I think every mother in America should watch that, because if you're a mother and you're raising kids, hello, how many mothers have not seen their kids banging, sitting in their beds and they bang their heads, the back of their heads? That's multiple concussive events right there. Or sometimes the front of their heads. Or they use, they'll hit a ball with their head. Or they fell off a tricycle and hit their head. Or the list goes on and on and on. Anybody who has had general anesthetics, you won't believe it, but you can get a traumatic brain injury from a general anesthetic. You can get a traumatic brain injury, a baby, we have shaken baby syndrome. They die of a traumatic brain injury because the brain is it's like a soft jello. And as it bounces inside your brain bucket, of your cranium has all these little pointy edges inside the cranium, and that damages the brain. Again, educate yourself on this. This is really important. This has to do with your life, the quality of your journey as you move forward, and that damage isn't permanent. Although that's what conventional medicine has told us, but we're finding out with many, like I said, you can go to Dr. Daniel Amen's website. You can see all the evidence there, but check out the film. The film is really fantastic. It's available. In fact, this is a picture of the trailer on the film. Also, it's available on DVD, and it's available on Amazon as well as Vimeo. So let's just go through a few more comments here in this group. And sorry about that. I think I might just end it right there because, yeah, we're going to end it right there. I think that's it for right now. I really hadn't intended to share. This is my post where I posted about why do so many men in the group have profile pictures. I think you might want to know. It says, without them in it, what are you hiding? To me, it doesn't inspire trust. We had, oh my gosh, I didn't realize we had so many replies. So there's 235 replies, so I'm not going to be able to answer all of that. But one gentleman answered, thank you for your post. I just updated my profile pic. I had planned on doing that yesterday, but then I forgot. Would love to chat some more. And then we have another person. He immediately, really cute guys, really handsome. So it's like, why would you deny us of seeing? See, that face inspires trust. It's like, yeah, I'm like, I could see that face. I'm like, I would talk to you. You look friendly. You're smiling. You're not hiding behind a hat. You're not hiding behind sunglasses. You look like a kind, like fun, lighthearted guy. So I'm like, yeah, Omar, I would talk to you. Of course, I want you to be geographically desirable, although I've had some gentlemen lately who've been telling me, it's like, wait a minute, it's like an hour away. That's not that far. If you really like someone, then an hour away is not that far, which true. As I think back, my husband, when we met in college, so we were going to the same university. We both went to USC. But after he graduated 2 years before I did. So after we graduated, we were living an hour apart, and he would drive an hour. Of course, when we were on campus, we lived off of the row, which is where all the fraternities and sororities are. And so my complex was literally right next door to his complex, which is how we met. So then once we moved back, we finished school. Now I moved back to my parents' house. He's back in Orange County because he was originally from Orange County. He had to drive an hour to come see me, and he would do that no problem. I'm thinking, I don't know, it just seems like people are less apt to want to drive nowadays. But I've been convinced by several people lately who said, no, hour and a half, I'll drive. And it's like, for me, it's not an issue. So I'm kind of laxing up, to that idea. If you guys have any questions or any comments about that, tell me, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea to make yourself available? To me, it seems like if I want to be dating somebody, I want to be seeing them on a weekly basis, a barrier. It's like you want to have proximity to them. So if they're an hour away, well, then during the week, you're probably not going to be able to see each other. And so the whole idea is spending time with each other because you've been single without anybody. So you want to be with that person and, start to live, not just have it be, just this special only on the weekend kind of thing. So I'm open to whatever you guys, like I said, I'm a little bit more open now because I had a couple of gentlemen who just said, no, an hour is like nothing. I drive an hour for work. I drive blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but it's the opposite direction. It's going, this way, that way, blah, blah, blah. But they're saying it's not an issue. What do you think? Write down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. So now this other guy, Perry, said, personally, my photo is always there. That's probably why I'm still, he's so funny. Perry says, that's probably why I'm still single. no, that's probably not why you're still single. There are other reasons I think why we're still single. I think there's something having to do with divine timing too. But until that, you need to keep moving forward. And if you're hidden away where you're never getting out and you're never interacting with people, then of course, hiding in your home, you're never going to find anybody. They're not going to come knocking at your front door. That's for sure. So, Juan says, sorry, I missed this. This was a great idea. He wanted to be on the Zoom call. Ahmed said, good remarks. You're always on point. 235 answers. That's a whole lot of answers. Jeff says here, games and lies are the norm these days. So I guess he thinks that the reason why some people don't put their picture, is because there are games and lies. I don't really think that there are games and lies are the norm. I think that there's an aspect of that, which is why as a woman, I don't want to, I'm not, somebody who's sending me a Facebook request, they're a guy and they have some elusive avatar. I'm not probably going to accept that friend request. I'm not. I always, if I don't accept everybody who asks to be a friend. I don't accept them on my Facebook profile. I look at their picture. I got to get a sense of if I have a good vibe feeling from their picture, and I look at their profile. If I see that there's their Facebook profile started December 2020, or there's only Facebook profile updates for the last year or two, and there's nothing else to show that they're really legitimately them, I'm not going to accept that friend request. So, okay, here's another guy, Juan Borrego. See, I don't know why he would, it's like another good looking guy. There he is. And there's Marie. Okay, I'm not going to read that one because that's kind of, I think, more personal. I don't think she would want me to disclose that. Here's another gentleman, he has a more elusive Facebook profile, but he put his picture on in our group again. He looks like a nice guy. It's like, I think that warrants having that picture and his Facebook profile. A lot of the guys like I said, there's 235 answers to this post. So Brian, see that he looks like a friendly guy. He's got a nice smile. So he looks approachable. He's not hiding behind sunglasses and a cap, it's not, or a hoodie. I kid you not. There's some guys, I was on Tinder for a short while and then I just threw the app away because I'm like, I think I kind of came to the conclusion that that is just an app for people who just want to hook up. So I'm like, no, it's like, I did go out on a few dates, but it just doesn't seem like it's an appropriate app for me. It's just not vibing with me. So, anyhow, that being said, I was going to say, yeah, sometimes there are guys that have, a hat and sunglasses, and they even have a hoodie on. I'm like, they look like the Unabomber. And I'm sorry, if you have a guy who's bearded with sunglasses and a dark, not original at all, you think you look cool with the glasses and the hat. Well, all you can really tell is your lips, and almost all of them have 5 o'clock shadows or beards. So it's like, there's nothing distinguishing about you. You look pretty much like everybody else. So, and why are you hiding? Obviously there's something, you're not open. So do I want somebody who's not open? No, not my thing. Here's another guy, see, and he's showing that I'm thinking, it looks like he's probably either on a paddleboard or on a deck at the harbor. But here you go. There's another guy. There's more women, it seems like, in this group than men is what people are observing, but there's a fair amount of guys on here too. So anyhow, that's it. I'm not going to go through all of these because there's just too many. I think we've made our point. I don't know why we didn't have more people show up on the Zoom call. So we did the Zoom. No one else showed up, but that's okay. We'll do another one. I know how these Zoom and Facebook Lives are. And actually, this is not Facebook Live. This is YouTube live stream. So that's it. We're going to end this session for now. It's been 53 minutes. 51, I think, because I think I was 2 minutes past the hour when we actually jumped on. But thank you for tuning in, tapping in, turning on here to this Facebook, YouTube Live, Zoom call. And we're going to do more of these because let's face it, with what's going on with this pandemic, because as of this live stream today, we still have the pandemic going on. I got to tell you, I went to a very fun open house at the Balboa Yacht Club today because they were trying to get more membership. It was packed. There's a lot of people there, a lot more boats than I've seen in a long time, actually, probably because of the open house too. There were extra paddle boarders. There were a lot of cute little kids in their sailboats as well. It was really a lot of fun. I took a lot of really cool pictures. I'm not going to show those to you. Well, maybe I'll show you one so you kind of get an idea. But that's another thing. There's all sorts of, like, you really couldn't tell that we had a pandemic going on while we were there. It was a lot of fun. It was, oh my gosh, such a beautiful day. Let me show some of the, how do I turn? I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but that's the front of the yacht club. And there's some of the boats. It's the ramp. To me, that reminded me of a pipe organ. So I took a picture of it because I always look at different things that I can use for backgrounds for my YouTube channel. So I saw that and I'm like, I don't know what that is on that boat, but I've never seen that on a boat before, but I'm like, that'll be a cool background. Reminded me of a pipe organ. I like this boat. The name of the boat was Incentive. And I love this sign. I know I'm going to use this. It says Sunship. Isn't that cool? I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's a brand or what it is, but I thought that is a very cool plaque on that boat. Anyhow, and I took some videos. Let me see. Where are some of the videos? Such a cute dog. Let me see if I can show you Life Ring. Oh, this is my picture section, not my video section. That's why I'm not showing you the videos. I'll show you a quick video but my point is get out, have fun, and don't just sit there waiting like a spider in your spider web, waiting to catch, someone or something. Oh, here we go. You can see there are a lot of boats out on the water. See, there's quite a few boats out. This is in Newport Beach. There are a ton of, there you have electric Duffies. There's a little motorboat. There's yachts, catamarans, sailboats, boats of all types here. Just get out there and find things to do so that you can meet people. So anyhow, I was there also interviewing people for my book, The Friendship Oracle. So, okay, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. It is 54 minutes in the making. That's it. Thank you for tuning in, tapping, and turning on to Love and Money Secrets TV. And hopefully we will see you soon. And I guess that's